There is something you need to understand about my silence. I know you have noticed it. You have probably wondered why I stopped reaching out, why I became quieter, why I no longer explain myself the way I used to, why I can see your name and still choose not to say anything. And maybe you have convinced yourself that I do not care anymore. Maybe you think I moved on. Maybe you think I found someone else. Maybe you think I am trying to punish you. But the truth is much more complicated. I am not talking to you because I have too much to say. And if I start talking before I am ready, I am afraid everything I have been holding inside will come pouring out. There are feelings I cannot explain in a simple message. There are memories I cannot casually bring up. There are questions I still do not know how to ask you. And there are things I wish I could tell you without making myself vulnerable again. So I chose silence, not because you mean nothing to me, but because you still mean too much. That is the part you probably never understood. When someone no longer matters, silence is easy. You do not think twice before walking away. You do not stare at your phone wondering whether you should send a message. You do not replay old conversations. You do not remember tiny details. You do not wonder what could have happened if things had been different. But when someone still matters, silence can become incredibly difficult. Every day, I have had to make a choice. Do I reach out? Do I ask how you are? Do I tell you that I still think about you? Do I finally say what I should have said a long time ago? And every time something inside me says wait, because I am afraid. Not necessarily afraid of you. I am afraid of what talking to you will awaken inside me. You have a way of making me feel things I spent a long time trying to control. One conversation with you can bring back emotions I thought I had buried. One message from you can change my entire mood. One memory can make me question every decision I made after you. And I cannot keep living in that emotional uncertainty. That is why I pulled back. You may have thought I was being cold, but I was actually trying to protect myself. There were moments when I wanted to reach out more than you will ever know. I typed messages, I erased them, I opened our conversation, I stared at your name. I wondered whether you were thinking about me too. And then I closed everything again. Not because I did not want to talk, because I wanted to talk too much. I wanted to tell you everything. I wanted to ask you why things became so complicated. I wanted to know whether what I felt was real to you. I wanted to know whether you ever miss me, whether you ever look back, whether you ever wonder what would happen if we started again. But I was terrified of hearing an answer that would hurt me, so I chose not to ask. Silence became safer than rejection. Distance became easier than disappointment, and pretending I was fine became easier than admitting that I was not. But there is another truth. I became tired. Tired of trying to understand what you wanted, tired of wondering where I stood, tired of feeling close to you one moment and distant the next, tired of having to analyze your words. Tired of wondering whether your silence meant you needed space or simply did not care. I cannot build something alone. I cannot keep reaching across a distance that you refuse to cross. And I cannot keep giving explanations for behavior that leaves me confused. There comes a moment when you stop asking someone to choose you. You simply step back and see what they choose when you stop chasing. That is what I am doing now. I am not talking to you because I want to see whether you notice my absence. I want to know whether you will come toward me without being pushed. I want to know whether you actually miss me when I am no longer the one keeping the connection alive. I want to know whether you will finally realize what you had when I stop making it easy for you to have access to me. And yes, there is a part of me that still hopes you will. I wish I could say I am completely detached. I am not. There are still moments when I wonder what you are doing. There are still songs that remind me of you. There are still places that bring back memories. There are still random moments when I think I wish I could tell them this. But I am learning that missing someone does not mean you have to run back to them. You can miss someone and still choose yourself. You can love someone and still walk away from what hurts you. You can care deeply and still decide that your peace matters too. That is what I am finally understanding. For a long time, I thought love meant holding on. I thought if I cared enough, understood enough, forgave enough, and waited long enough, everything would eventually work itself out. But sometimes love teaches you the opposite. Sometimes love teaches you when to stop. Sometimes silence is not the end of a connection. Sometimes silence is the moment when you finally hear yourself. And I have been hearing myself lately. I have been asking what I actually want, not what I hope you will become, not what I wish you would say, not what I imagined our future could look like. I am asking what exists right now. And right now there is distance, there is uncertainty, there are unanswered questions, and there is a person who has chosen not to communicate, so I am respecting that reality. I am not going to chase answers from someone who is not ready to give them. But here's the part I need you to understand. My silence does not mean I stopped caring. It means I stopped abandoning myself just to prove that I care about you. There is a difference. I can care about you without constantly contacting you. I can miss you without going back. I can hope for better without accepting less. And I can leave the door unlocked emotionally while still refusing to stand at the doorway waiting forever. If you ever wonder whether I think about you, the answer is probably more complicated than you expect. Yes, I do. But I am also thinking about myself now. I am thinking about my peace, my future, my happiness, the person I am becoming. And I cannot keep allowing an uncertain connection to consume all of my emotional energy. If you want to talk to me, you know how to find me. If you want to explain yourself, I will listen. If you want to tell me the truth, I would rather hear the truth than another excuse. If you regret what happened, say it. If you miss me, say it. If you still have feelings, do not hide behind silence and expect me to read your mind. I am no longer interested in guessing. I want honesty. I want consistency. I want effort. I want two people who are willing to meet each other halfway. Not one person reaching while the other keeps retreating. And if you come back, I need you to understand something. You cannot come back with the same behavior that made me leave. A message is not enough. A few emotional words are not enough. Nostalgia is not enough. Promises are not enough. If something is going to change, I need to see it. I need to feel the difference in the way you communicate, in the way you show up, in the way you handle difficult conversations, in the way you make space for me. Because I have learned that words can sound beautiful while actions tell an entirely different story. And I am choosing to believe actions now. Maybe that is the final truth. I am not talking to you because I am finally beginning to understand my own worth. I spent too much time wondering whether you would choose me. Now I am asking whether I should choose you. That question changes everything. Because I am no longer waiting for someone to decide whether I am enough. I know I am enough. I do not need you to validate that. I do not need your attention to prove that I am lovable. I do not need your return to prove that what we had mattered. It mattered to me. And perhaps that is why letting go has been so difficult, but something can matter and still come to an end. A chapter can be beautiful and still be finished. A person can be important and still not be the right person for your next chapter. And maybe that is what this silence is really about. Not punishment, not revenge, not pride, growth. I am becoming someone who refuses to beg for clarity, someone who refuses to chase inconsistent affection, someone who understands that real connection should not constantly leave me questioning my value. So if you are wondering why I am not talking to you, now you know. I am not silent because I hate you. I am not silent because I forgot you. I am not silent because you never mattered. I am silent because I finally realized that I matter too. And if there is ever going to be another conversation between us, I want it to be different. I want it to be honest. I want it to be mature. I want both of us to say what we were too afraid to say before. No games, no guessing, no pretending, just truth. And until that moment comes, I will keep walking forward. Maybe one day our paths will meet again. Maybe they will not. But either way, I am going to be okay because I have learned something from loving you. Sometimes the greatest proof that you care about someone is not how hard you fight to keep them. Sometimes it is knowing when to step back. And sometimes the greatest act of love is finally giving yourself the same patience, understanding, and loyalty that you spent so long giving to someone else. So yes, I am not talking to you. But do not mistake my silence for emptiness. There is a whole story behind it. There are memories behind it. There are feelings behind it. There are lessons behind it. And most importantly, there is a version of me behind this silence who is finally learning how to choose peace over uncertainty. That is the final truth. I still care. But I will not lose myself trying to prove it.